Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to Worth Guitars. It's been a while since I talked to you. Apologize for the big gap in between videos, but last month, April would be the month I'm speaking of, was just crazy and there was no time whatsoever to do videos. So I'm going to try to get caught up on the videos, try to do a few new ones. As you know, I may have told you in another video, one of the people that work here at Worth Guitars and my dear friend Steve Stevens had a problem and had a stroke, and so we had to see what we could do to try to take care of him. And so we got a guitar ready to donate for an auction to help raise money to pay hospital bills, because it doesn't even matter what kind of insurance you have. You're still going to have ridiculous hospital bills due to the wonderful healthcare system we have here in America. But we won't even get into that right now. So that was there, and I had a guitar that was due to be finished that month for a young man named Micah Payne, and it was a pretty intense guitar, and I had to put a ton of time into everything to get that done. And on top of that, it's planting season here, gardening season, and other things that have to be done, you know, in your world and in your life. So the video time just wasn't there. So I had the Worth guitar. I had this acoustic guitar that we've been working on, and you've seen some of the videos, sitting on that table over there. And I had a case leaning against the table. Well, I grabbed the case and walked away, and I heard a crash behind me, and it was this guitar falling over. I still don't know why it happened, because really all I did was just lift the case up off of the table, but apparently I knocked it just enough to where this just tipped over, and this hit the floor, and it cracked right along the area there where the bolt goes through, this piece here, for these bolt-on necks. In case you're not familiar with that, it has one of these that goes through here like that, and that has the threads in it so that when you put it in, you have somewhere to bolt. And it cracked the whole back of the heel off. And I'll show you some pictures. It was a devastating, heartbreaking experience, to say the least. This poor guitar has just been sitting there waiting patiently for someone to work on it and to give it some love, and instead it got broken. So what I did was I set up a jig to cut two little shoulders down the side here and laminated maple going in the opposite direction on there, as you can see. See that? So I laminated two layers of maple on there, one on either side, about 1/8 of an inch thick on either side of this tenon to reinforce that, which I should have done anyway. I actually started to do it back when I first did the tenon. I said to myself, I should go ahead and laminate some reinforcing material on here, because I've seen other people do it. But then I thought, no, it's going to be okay. So you shouldn't second guess yourself. If you have a gut instinct, you should go with it. So anyway, we're back kind of on track on this, but that's not what we're going to work on today. Today, I need to get some grain filler on this on this electric guitar right here for Rob Judalena, who's been very patiently waiting for it. So let me get this out of the way, and I'll be right back. So this little beauty is solid sapele with an African mahogany neck and a very pretty ebony fretboard with a nice looking turtle inlaid, along with the moon phase inlay. And I'll get you some better shots of that when it's done. You can see it a little closer up. Just a nice little single cutaway, little carved top, very subtle carve. This is one of the versions of a single cutaway we do. We do a flat top, and we do a subtle carve like this, which is doesn't have a maple cap on it. When we put a maple cap on it, we do a little bit more elaborate carve. And of course it has the ebony head plate, and it is ready for grain fill. And so what I would like to do on this one is use some of the Silver Tip Epoxy right here to grain fill this whole guitar. And I think I'm only going to be able to do, I may be able to do the whole body at a time, but as you know, it's going to be messy. So I think we'll just get started and see how it goes. And I got to go get some little mixing cups to mix this with, because it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So I need to get a little something to mix it with to get the proper ratio. And obviously we need to tape off the fretboard real quick, because we don't want to get epoxy all over it. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll get set up and we'll get rolling, okay? Welcome back again. Thanks for tuning in, all right? I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me put my mic back on. If I walk out of the building with this on, it cuts the sound off. Ask me how I figured that out. So what I'm going to do for the 2-to-1 ratio, I got this little cup here. I'm just going to fill it completely up with the resin for the 2-part, and then halfway up for the hardener part. And that should do the trick. That gets you pretty damn close to 2-to-1. And of course I just have a piece of cardboard here to keep the bench from getting messed up. I usually have some craft paper around, but it seems I ran out. So we're just using a good piece of cardboard from a box that I got today with praying mantis eggs in it. What? You say you don't buy praying mantis eggs? One of the things I truly love to do is garden. And one of the pests that we have here, called a stink bug, will destroy your tomatoes. It pokes little holes in your tomatoes. I think it's just out of meanness. It's probably not, but it seems like it is. So I bought some praying mantis eggs, hoping that they will hatch and enough of them will survive and the birds won't eat them, to where, because I found out that it is one of the only natural predators for the stink bug, the praying mantis. So I'm hoping to build an army of praying mantis. So that's why the box. You didn't need to know that, but now you do. All right, let's get some mixed up. And we'll start filling this baby. Wait, before we do that, we've got to tape off the fretboard, because we don't want to get epoxy on it. Let's do that first. Hold on, let me get you a little closer. So I just used my thumbnail to get in tight around each fret, like that. I let it hang over, then come back and cut it with a razor blade. That seems to be the fastest way to do it. There we go. Nice and quick. That razor blade's pretty sharp, but they're pretty inexpensive, so I like to use a good sharp one every time I do something, so I'm not because I don't know what I've been dragging that razor blade along, and the edge gets dull pretty quick. So I just buy this boxes, 100 razor blades. You always got a good sharp edge when you need it. And then we just come in here, start to cut, go right along the fretboard. Just like that. That's the easiest way to do it. There we go. That looks good. I got one little spot up here. I want to put some on. Right there around where the nut goes. Trim that back off. And that's done. Pretty quick. Okay, so apparently the camera angle was off when I was trying to show you the mixture, but it's 2 to 1. I just use a little cup to get the mix. We'll clean that up, move it out of the way. And we'll get this mixed up. You want to make sure you mix this very thoroughly. Okay, I think that's good. My little credit cards to spread it with. And I think I'm just going to lay this flat like this. Get you over closer. Let's just take this like this and go across the grain with it. And try to carefully spread it out, going at a diagonal across the grain. And then we'll come back and try to get the majority of it back off. And just use a little bit at a time and spread it out well. You don't have to get crazy and put a lot on there. It really goes a long way. There, you can see it a little better now. I have a kind of a yellow light shining on it. I wonder if I turn that off if it looks better. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, we'll stop worrying about that and get to work. All right, I'm just going to work that around on there a little. Get down in here with my finger. Seal that up. Like that. Some of this stuff that went down inside here we can just wipe right out. Make sure we got it in the grain good. All right, this is looking good now. I'm just going to take this and kind of work the excess off. Like that. Because the less you leave on there, the less you have to sand it back off. I really like the way this is working, the way it looks anyway. It's nice and smooth. That excess back out of there. Yeah, it looks good. Just going to try to get down there any that's pooling down inside there. We don't want that. It's all right if it flows out in the bottom of the pickup cavity. There we go. Man, that sure is pretty, isn't it? That's beautiful wood. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to do the headstock up here. Let's get that done. show you one that we've been working on. This one's almost done. It has no pickups in it because I do the fret work before I put pickups in. That way I don't have to worry about the pickups being in the way when I put it over there on the fret dressing jig. This is African mahogany with a nice looking deep mahogany burst into amber. Futon, maple neck, burst on the back. A Pal Ferro fretboard with the moon phase inlay that we use predominantly on Celine's because Celine is the goddess of the moon. So this one's going to be available soon. Very nice ebony head plate. So stay tuned, man. We'll get this one done. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to go do some other stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Apologize for the big gap in between videos. Last month was rough, but that's all right. We're going to start picking it back up again, hopefully. And I just want to say I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you watching. I hope life is treating you well out there. Please be good to each other. Get out and see some musicians and, you know, support your local communities. And I hope you guys have a good one, okay? Peace. Work guitars. Rock on. Bye now.